Well, howdy, welcome to another installment of My Gear. So today I'm going to share with you my Schecter. And this is a Jeff Loomis Signature Series, Diamond Series Schecter. This is my first seven string guitar, and it's still the only one that I own. And that kind of makes it one of my favorites in that aspect. Someday I want to get an 8 string. Maybe even a 9 string. Just fun to play around with and do different stuff. But this thing pretty much takes care of all my needs for now. And there's a little bit of a backstory on how I got this guitar. It's not as fun of a story as my Washburn. If somebody said you have to take your guitar collection and pick one guitar that you get to keep and you have to get rid of the rest, I would probably keep this one. With the 7 string, you have a standard 6 string tuning. Well, depends on how you tune it, but so you have your standard 6 string tuning, and I like that. But then on top of that, you can also have your low string. And we'll get more into that later on how I used to tune this thing and then what I've been doing lately with the tuning on this thing. So anyway, let me share with you just real quick how I got this guitar. It's not really that interesting. Back in the day, in my last band that I was in, our singer was kind of a wheeler and dealer, and he traded instruments, things like that. He was one of those guys. But he ended up with a BC Rich bitch. I'm not a BC Rich guy. I know they do make nice stuff, but this was a low-end model. So our other friend that used to hang out with the band and go to our shows and band practices and parties and go to the bar with us and stuff, he had gotten this guitar, this Jeff Loomis Signature Schecter, and he didn't like it. He thought he would like a 7 string, but some people that play 6 string just can't grasp having that extra string, and it's like they don't know what to do with it. And I had always wanted one since I was in high school. I had wanted one, so I probably wanted one for like the past 13 years before this point. I was like, man, I was kind of jealous, like, man, that thing's sick and you don't even like it. He had ended up trading for that BC Rich bitch. So now the singer in our band had this Loomis guitar, and he didn't really want to keep it either. He just traded up, basically. So he was like, hey, dude, you want to buy it? Yeah, I want to buy it. What do you sell it to me for? And he's like, $600. And I was like, shit. Because it was in like pretty much perfect condition. It was like brand new. And those, back in 2008, I think they were $1,000, which is a great mid-price guitar. I still have it here 14 years later. And this guitar I have used in more videos than any other guitar I have. Like this guitar, I use it a lot. Let me show you the guitar up a little close and, not make this video too frickin' long. So here we go. I'm gonna show you this thing. I don't like the Floyd Rose bridge. I locked it. I just put a piece of wood in there and kind of wedged it so that thing is locked. I don't use the tremolo on here anyway, so goodbye. These pickups are 707s, I believe, and they're active. I'm kind of over the active pickup thing. You got to remember to change the batteries, and they last a long time, but sometimes like you're recording or playing guitar and you just can't get a good sound and you're like, what the hell's going on here? And then you remember, oh yeah, maybe I should change the batteries, and boom, it magically sounds better. It's just kind of annoying. I'd rather have passive pickups. I buy batteries and then I forget that I bought batteries, so I go and buy more batteries, so then I have like batteries stashed everywhere, and I think I put them in a spot where I'll remember them, but then I don't. Then I just end up with like batteries kind of stashed and I don't know where I put them. The other kind of dumb thing that I like and don't like, I like that it just has a volume knob, which is nice, because with metal especially, I never use the tone knob. I've never recorded anything with the tone knob turned down or anything, so like it's just one less thing that you don't need. Pickup selector, definitely need that, but just the single volume knob is really nice. I like that. But the placement of this volume knob, with the way that I used to play, I would kind of have my fingers flopping, so I'd always hit this thing and move it up and down. So like, especially when you're recording, it's kind of irritating, like, oh, my guitar sounds crappy for some reason, like, oh, I turned the volume halfway down, so that's why. In the last few months, I've been conditioning myself to hold the pick with my, in a fist, which this is a lot more efficient to pick this way. It's a lot cleaner. You don't have your fingers flopping around, and I don't hit this anymore. So it's not as much of an issue now, but it's still kind of to me a little close. And I know it's handy here because you can just have your pinky to move it up and down while you're playing. I don't find it really necessary for me in my style. Like some people, this might be a great spot for it, but for me, I don't really like it. I wish it was, you know, somewhere else, maybe further back, just somewhere where you don't hit it when you're strumming or playing aggressively or bumping it and stuff. And also the pickup selector, this isn't a bad spot. I don't mind it here. I have guitars that have it up here, and I really don't like that because I always bump the pickup selector when it's up here. So down here's a lot better. And some guitars kind of have it down here in this area, some styles, which I don't really like it here either because I tend to bump it, and that's annoying. So that's really my only couple of gripes with this guitar is I like the pickups, but kind of, I don't really need active pickups. Pickups are so good nowadays, you don't really need active pickups. The bridge I don't like. I mean, Floyd Rose are great, but I just don't use them, so it's annoying, so I just locked it. And then the placement of this volume knob is kind of annoying. So it's got an ash body, and what I really love about this finish, I think it's Vampire Red, but you can see all the wood grain. It looks way better in person, but you can see all this wood grain, and I love wood grain, so I really do like, you know, having a finish like this that you can, you know, really see through it. But yeah, it's really, really nice looking. I didn't really polish this up or anything for the video, so you can see all the smudges and fingerprints because that's realistic. Let's be real. So the neck and the fretboard are both maple. I usually don't have guitars with a light colored fretboard, and this one, it just suits it. I think it really makes it pop, and it looks great. So like the fretboard, you know, is this nice yellow finish kind of. It's just really good looking. And then the headstock too is the same color. It's a really nice color. And then the back is this same Vampire Red. And you can see the wood grain in it and all the fingerprints and smudges. I do have a little wear mark right here, and I think that's probably from my ring. So the fretboard is nice, it plays nice. It's got 24 jumbo frets. I do not think they're stainless steel. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find any information on it. And usually they mention if they're stainless steel frets. But that being said, I think all of my guitars just have regular frets. They're not stainless, and I've never had a problem with them. I think long-term stainless steel frets should last like way longer, but I've never had a problem with just regular old frets. But I like the frets on this thing. They're jumbo. They feel nice, they play nice, they're fast. I like the shape of the neck. It's pretty thin. It's not super round, so it's almost kind of flat on the back. It just plays really nice, and I have big hands, so this thing feels natural, even though, you know, that's a 7-string with the widest part of the neck. That's how big my hands are compared to it. It fits me perfectly. We got the Grover tuners. Now, this is interesting. I mean, Grover tuners are really nice. I really like these tuners, but like on my Washburn, this thing has a lock nut, so it doesn't really matter what tuners you have. You just have to get them close. Just get it close to being in tune, you lock these down, and then you finish off the tuning with the bridge tuners. So like having Grover tuners on this thing doesn't really matter. I like the hardware color. It's like a smoky chrome. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's not chrome, it's kind of the smoky chrome, like black chrome sort of like. So like, I don't know, you know, everybody will kind of see them differently depending on like what they're watching on, but these are actually chrome, but they're kind of like black smoky chrome. If you look it up, it says it's black hardware, but it's like black smoky chrome. The only thing other than locking this tremolo that I've done to this guitar is, of course, strap locks. I love strap locks. They're so nice. And when you install these, just put a little tiny bit of super glue or wood glue, just a little drop on the tip of the screw before you screw it in, and it'll help it be secure. And check these once in a while, especially if you play live and you play standing up a lot. Check these. If they're wiggling and loose at all, you know, just snug it down a little bit. And if you do wear one of these holes out to where you cannot tighten a screw in there anymore, just shove a toothpick in there and screw that thing back in, and boom, you're good to go. Maybe put a little drop of wood glue in there, and that'll fix it up. So let's talk about the tuning of this guitar. So at first, what I did was keep the standard E, B, G, D, A, E. So it's a standard 6-string tuning, right? And then what I would do is tune the low string down to A. So it'd be like drop A. It's like drop D, but it's drop A on a 7-string. So I wanted more. I've always wanted an 8-string, and I'm like, okay, what can I do with this thing? It's a 26.5-inch scale, and there's some 7 strings that are an even shorter scale. The scale length is just between your saddles and the nut. I want to be able to tune down more, but I don't want to mess with these 6 strings. I want to leave them standard. So what I ended up doing was going to my local music shop, and they have a bunch of just single strings, and I was like, hey, can I look through your strings? I'm looking for something in particular. And I found some packs of different stuff like this, .070s, and basically they're like high bass strings. Here's a slightly smaller one. And with the Floyd Rose anyways, you're cutting this off and clamping it in to the, if you're familiar with the Floyd Rose, you know what I mean. You cut off the ball and then it clamps in. The biggest one I got actually fits in there. So boom, perfect. So what I ended up doing was like, well, I want to go lower than A. Okay, what's the next note that I can go down to that'll kind of work with the standard E on the top 6 strings? And I thought, well, how about E? How about an octave below standard E, which is just basically the low string on a standard E bass. So my bottom 2 strings are bass low E, and then a standard guitar E tuning. So like the last 4 videos I think I've done on my YouTube page are with this guitar in this tuning. So then the other problem was, well, how do I tune my bass guitar to play along with this? And I figured, well, I can't really tune it an octave lower than it already is, like a standard E on bass. Like if you go an octave lower than that, that's like crazy low. That's, you know, drop Z tuning right there. What I decided to do was just tune the bass the same. So I tuned the low string to the standard bass E, and then the next string to standard guitar E. So it's kind of weird, but it works. And what it ended up doing was kind of making the songs like they're really down-tuned, but the bass is not down-tuned. So it's like, it sounds heavy and cool and kind of different to me anyway. And I know this probably isn't anything original. I'm sure somebody's done this, but like it's really fun to mess around with. And I think it's kind of a little bit of a different sound. So it's like, if you listen to the song, like, what's different about this? Like, oh, the guitar is like really low, but the bass is normal. So I don't know, it's kind of cool and it's fun to mess with.
scared. She said you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air. Now whistle for a cab.
In the summer, I enjoy a nice, cool